Wowee, that might be the most boring game of rugby league I've ever watched. And if you're an insomniac, I have good news. We have found a cure. Effective 8th of June 2026, the world found a cure to insomnia. And all you have to do is sit through 80 minutes of watching the Bulldogs beating the Parramatta Eels 14-12 at Accor Stadium in Sydney Olympic Park. Because, oh my gosh, I was falling asleep and I was at the damn game. In all seriousness, it's a win for the Bulldogs and you take it. A win's a win. I'm going to break down the performance, what the game overall taught me, and what we can look into going on for the rest of the season. So I'm going to start with the positives. The Bulldogs win, obviously. Statistically, they led in every single department as well. They had more possession, 54-46. They had more runs. They ran for more meters. They had more post-contact meters. They had 7 line breaks to the Eels, 4. They had 54 tackle busts to the Parramatta Eels, 29. 12 offloads to 6. Overall, the Bulldogs were better. In saying that, I thought Parramatta were the more resilient of the two sides. The first half, so many lost opportunities. Matt Burton, poor passes that go to ground. Lachlan Galvin passing to Casper the Ghost on the right-hand side twice throughout the game. Lachlan Galvin kicking the ball dead. It was just such a poor game to watch. Bailey Hayward, I will give a little bit of credit to. I thought he was looking to get out of dummy half. He ran the ball a lot more than we've seen. But overall, the critiques of this team remain, and that is they lack creativity. Now, there was a controversial no try where Lachlan Galvin drops the ball. Jacob Kiraz in the back end of that first half forces an offload. Lachlan Galvin stumbles on it. Leo Thompson tries to clean it up, fumbles it, and then it's picked up and scored by Parramatta. I think it was Volkman. It might have been Papali. Nonetheless, it was ruled a no try by the bunker. I thought the Bulldogs were lucky here. They were saying that Lachlan Galvin almost had a double knock on and that Papali or Volkman, whoever it was, had touched the ball. Look, I don't agree with that. To the naked eye of someone watching a game of rugby league, it was a try, and the Bulldogs escaped one there. And if you look in the context of the game, the Bulldogs were lucky, because if Parramatta had in fact scored first, I doubt the Bulldogs' ability to score points and their emotional ability or motivation or confidence to succumb any sort of comeback. In a nutshell, the game, I'm going to talk about the second half. The Bulldogs score through Satili Tupanua, who continues his barnstorming form on the right-hand side. Galvin to Tupanua. We saw the combination of Galvin and Preston. Tupanua continuing that marriage, if you like, breaking through a few tackles, scoring the try. I've been really impressed with the Tongan international. He's been really strong performer for the Bulldogs in what's been a poor season. Then the Bulldogs go back-to-back. Connor Tracy, of all people, puts up a bomb. Stephen Crichton, the captain, jumps over Yongi, and the Bulldogs lead 12-0. Crichton converting both. You might have thought just for a moment that the Bulldogs might have run away with the game, but you were wrong. The Bulldogs let themselves down, unfortunately. Down the left-hand side, tearing the Bulldogs right side apart. Josh Adokar gets away, puts a nice kick in. Taran De Silva collects the ball past Connor Tracy and scores the try. Fair play, it was a nice bit of football. Then the Eels did exactly what the Bulldogs did 10 minutes ago. They went back-to-back. A really simple tip-on play for Tinkham Brown to break through the Bulldogs and then just finds a former Bulldog in Josh Papali, who scores the try, and now the Eels equal things up. It's 12-all. This is where I became really disappointed in the Bulldogs' halves. With 6 minutes to go, they go wide on a number of occasions and then ends up kicking the ball up. Galvin and Burton both guilty of this. There was no thought or consideration for setting up for a field goal. Fortunately, a penalty goes the Bulldogs' way. Stephen Crichton converts, and the Bulldogs win 14-12. But the Eels, to me, were the more resilient of the two sides. Bulldogs had so many tackles down the Parramatta Eels 20-metre area, and the Eels held out. And you have to remember how many injuries the Parramatta Eels have. All things considered, they were the better team in terms of what I saw. I would be taking more out of that game if I was an Eels fan, rather than being on the other side as a Bulldogs supporter. And the criticism of this team remains the same. There's a sheer lack of creativity. There is a lack of a game manager, and ultimately, Bailey Hayward tried to run more, and I will give him credit for that. He made 7 runs and made 40 meters. That's rare you see from Bailey Hayward. But again, there's such a lack of creativity around that ruck. And Lachlan Galvin and Matt Burton, I feel, are the exact same player. If Galvin so clearly wants to play on the left-hand side, when he's in that broken play mode, you can see he's always wanting to shift left. And that seems to be where he does his most damage. If you actually think of the try Lachlan Galvin scored against the Eels last time out, it was down the left-hand side through a nice bit of play. Galvin is much more comfortable on the left. Matt Burton is more comfortable on the left. And I think that's why you're seeing when Galvin's on the right trying to throw these cutout passes, he just looks so uncomfortable, and that's why he keeps finding Casper the Ghost over the sideline. But ultimately, the issues of this team remain. Lachlan Galvin does not have a good long kick on him or a good bomb on him. And that is a bit of a problem. I think he needs to clearly work on his core strength, his leg strength, and he needs to improve his kicking game. He also lacks composure, perhaps because he's not a number 7. And I don't want to blame Lachlan Galvin for this. Ultimately, it is the Bulldogs management, the executives, the coaching staff who have assembled this Frankenstein of a team that just leaves us critical week in, week out. And I hate to sound so negative in what was a victory, but we can't paper over the cracks. Like, this was a really poor performance, guys. And if the Bulldogs were versing any other side, including St. George Illawarra, I'm concerned that they would have lost this game. If Mitchell Moses was playing for the Parramatta Eels, I'm telling you, there's not a chance that they would have won. What do the Bulldogs do from here? I honestly don't know the answer to that. I think Stephen Crichton's playing busted. He doesn't look anything near the player that we saw last year or the year before. Connor Tracy, for me, is not the Bulldogs' biggest problem, but now looks like a magnified issue because of the lack of creativity of the spine. And ultimately, there is no quick way to solve this outside of personnel. This is why I keep saying things like, I think Matt Burton's going to leave the Bulldogs. It's why I keep saying things like Lachlan Galvin needs to be moved to 6. There are fundamental issues with this team. And I just challenge everyone to not really listen to what Phil Gill says, because the guy's a media masterstroke. I think him, Cameron Ciraldo, and co. have acknowledged that they have made errors in the recruitment and retention choices that they have made for this team. And unfortunately, there's no quick fix. If you look at the New South Wales Cup side, there's no obvious solution in terms of the halves or the fullback. I've heard people say Alex Conti, but there's no guarantees. I think Mitchell Woods is the one that the Bulldogs ultimately hold high hopes for and are manifesting that he comes into the first team and is successful. Ultimately, I think when that happens, you're going to see Matt Burton shifted to either the centres or to perhaps the number 13 position. But unfortunately, I think the Bulldogs are delaying the inevitable, and the inevitable being that they're just simply not going to make the top 8 because they're not good enough. I hear the commentary on NRL 360, the likes of Brent Reid, saying that this side is a top 8 team. A good team without a spine is like a Ferrari without an engine. It's just all appearance. If the engine cannot provide the fuel to the rest of the team or quality ball to your outside backs or your lethal back rowers, then it's all for naught. And ultimately, that's where the Bulldogs will continue to fail. You can't teach creativity. You either have it or you don't. It's like the best. It's the same with people who are able to throw a 30-meter cutout pass or not. Like, some things are just innate, and unfortunately I think this Bulldogs team has downgraded in the key areas, and that's obvious. But it keeps us in the fight for another week or 2 because we have the bye this week, so another 2 points. Woo! So we got Manly after the bye, and gee, that's going to be a really difficult game. I'd encourage every Bulldogs fan who can attend to go get behind the boys because they're going to need it. Fuzzball is in full effect, and I'm really nervous for that game. But there you have it, just a really quick review of the Bulldogs-Eels game, but ultimately I'm left more empty than full. I'm concerned. I don't think we're going to make the 8, and that's such a fall from grace for a team that promised so much halfway through 2025. But anyway, enjoy your rugby league, enjoy the bye, enjoy your state of origin, and get out of here.